505-690-4052.
505-620.
690. 4052. If somebody named Sally, oh, my memory isn't right.
What?
Nothing.
505-402.
505-690. 4052. Oh, right, the record.
Oh, Mrs. Gravely, you're bad news. Hello, Michelle, this is Elaine. How are you, my dear? Hanging in there.
So,
I'm gonna put you on speakerphone. Just a moment, please. Are you there?
I am here, thank you.
So how was your weekend?
Oh, it was good. My mom came in, and so, yeah, life is good.
So where does Mom live? Where does your mom live?
My mom lives in Ohio, so she came in to visit and see her granddaughter. So, anyways, that's good.
Good.
Life is good. So I'm trying not to work that hard this week, although, the best laid plans. All right. Is Corey there?
Say that again.
I said, is Corey there?
No?
Okay, so it's just us, and is it Laura, Franklin, and you?
And Ann.
we're in open session.
Oh, okay, Franklin, we're in open session, okay.
Do you want us to get Corey?
We can talk about, well, he might have some, I did not see any comments, we're talking about personnel policies right now, right?
Right.
I did not see him, he didn't make any comments about them, so I guess we could just go forth and discuss what your issues were.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, so I got them up, so I'm gonna let you guys start.
Go ahead.
This is me, Michelle, Laura. One question that I wanted clarification, you and Corey seem to have different opinions on this particular subject, and so I guess I wanted from you verbally what your opinion is, and it's page 9, performance appraisals, and the bottom line is, with where we're at with supervising employees right now, I tend to agree with you and your opinion on performance appraisals. If they're not done right, they can be used against the county. And I don't know that we're in a place to do them right now. Especially the commission.
Okay, so here's the deal. There's two schools of thought here, guys. You can have a performance appraisal, and, well, there's three schools of thought. You can have performance appraisals or not have performance appraisals. So there's A and there's B. You have them or you don't have them. If you decide to have them, you can write the policy so that you do that when you want to do it or when they need to be done, or you can have them regularly scheduled. Like every year on their anniversary, we're going to have a performance appraisal. The reason that you have performance appraisals is because you want to have a standardized process by which you're forcing management to sit down with the employees and actually discuss with the employees their performance. We're going to measure you against this. How did you do? What areas do we want to see improvement in? When they are well done and they're structured, like you literally set up a system that says, here's the 5 areas we're going to measure you on. Under these 5 areas, so in each area, like one might be customer service or one might be knowledge base. And then under each of those areas, there's, maybe 4 or 5 additional areas that subcategories per se, right? We've all seen a performance appraisal.
Right.
So if you structure it that way and you give good training to your supervisors, a performance appraisal can be an actually very valuable tool. And it's a valuable tool because it makes everybody sit down and kind of get on the same page about where they think somebody is. It makes the manager think about it, and it makes the employee it gives them information about how they can, what they need to aim for to improve their performance. What the manager is looking for.
Okay.
If they're not done well, then they're just a nightmare. Because a lot of times what you get is first of all, managers don't like to do performance appraisals. So a lot of times they're not done well because somebody's just being held, their foot is being held to the fire that they have to do a performance appraisal. And they don't like doing them. And so what they'll do is they'll sit down and they'll either just do a half, fill in the blank job, right? Not a great job at it, or they'll just rate everybody the same. So on a scale of 1 to 5, where a 3 is average, they rate everybody a 4. Well, not all employees are a 4. And the other thing that happens then with a performance appraisal is that say the employee is having performance issues, well, instead of actually putting it into in the performance appraisal, they'll just kind of do the thing that they've always done, and then 2 months later they want to discipline somebody or they want to fire them. And so performance appraisals are used a lot by plaintiffs' attorneys to say, well, wait a second, this person had, great performance appraisals for the 5 years before this, and so now you're going to tell me that all of a sudden they're not doing a good job? Or you just gave them a performance appraisal literally 2 months before you terminated them, and the performance appraisal said that they were doing everything well. So if you're going to have performance appraisals, then you need to make sure that the people who are giving them are trained and they're doing it correctly, which is a very hard thing to do because supervisors don't like doing it.
Why don't they like doing them?
Because they look at it as confrontation. They have to honestly evaluate somebody, and this is somebody that they probably are looking at going, oh, they're fine, but they're not great. But they never told them that.
Okay.
And so they don't want to start telling them that now.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reverse, the other side of the coin is, you don't have to have performance appraisals if your supervisors are doing what they're supposed to do, which is evaluating somebody's performance on a regular basis. And what that is called is discipline. So literally 4 times a year, the manager should be sitting down with an employee and just checking in with them. Do you have any questions? This is what you're doing really well. If somebody is not performing, they should be given a discipline. Because the other thing that happens with performance appraisals is maybe the person isn't doing something really well, and the supervisor just sits there and goes, well, I'll talk to them about it in their performance appraisal. So something happens, the person's not really doing it the way the supervisor wants, and then they find out 6 months later in their performance appraisal. So we don't want to have that happen either. If you as an employer are not doing something the right way, or not doing something the way you want your supervisor wants it done, you should know about that now, not 6 months from now.
You can't correct what you don't know.
Yeah, because you can't fix what you don't know. So, to me, I think it's easier to train supervisors to discuss performance issues with employees as they're happening than it is to try and train them on how to do a performance appraisal the right way. Because they shouldn't be mutually exclusive,
They're what?
right? They should not be mutually exclusive.
No.
If an employee is having performance issues, they should be being talked to about it all along the way. The performance appraisal shouldn't be used as an excuse. Now, that's my opinion, all right? NACO's opinion follows mine. NACO's opinion is you should put in there that you're going to do performance appraisals. If a supervisor wants to do it, they can do it. But it shouldn't be, it should be something that is up to the manager, right? And it should be something that is, see how it says, normally supervisors and employees will have ongoing discussions about job performance, right? So if you're going to do a performance appraisal system, it should be not something that's kind of county-wide, right? It should be something that you encourage the manager to do that say, hey, we may use this. You'll have the option of doing it. And if you do it, though, you should do it this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can do an evaluation at any time, but no matter what, you need to make sure that the person has the right to have their input. Now, so NACO and my position and NACO's position are very similar. Now, there are people out there, like maybe Corey, that still think that you have to have a yearly performance appraisal. And the issue with that, of course, is that if somebody doesn't do it, right, then remember, our policies are a contract, right?
Okay.
So if we have a contract, and our policies are a contract, and we, the county, do not follow our contract. So say you guys say you're going to have yearly performance appraisal, and then you don't do it, right? Now remember, the other thing you're going to have then is you're going to have your HR administrator tracking when performance appraisals are due, and then making sure that somebody actually does them. And then say they don't do it, and then the person gets fired. They could turn around and say, well, you fired me, but I was supposed to have this performance appraisal done, and if I had my performance appraisal done 3 months before, I might have known and been able to correct this.
Yeah.
Right? And so then you breach the contract. So, I mean, remember, the Wrongful Discharge Act is going to say that they have a Wrongful Discharge Act claim if you breach your contract, and it's related somehow to the termination. So, that's a lot of information for you guys, but if you do decide to have performance appraisals, have them as part of the county, right, as a system, then your HR person is going to have to make sure that they're actually done. We'll have to train people, and we'll have to say, you guys are responsible for doing it, and if they don't do it, then you're going to have to discipline them. So if you have a department head that doesn't do the performance appraisals, then you guys are going to have to discipline them. So that's the benefits and the detriments of performance appraisals. And you guys, but it's up to you. You guys have to make the decision. And I would be happy to talk to Corey about this. I mean, Brian and I and the lawyers at NACO can talk about it, and tell him why we have this opinion, and I mean, it may or may not change his opinion, but there are still a lot of companies that do performance appraisals.
We went through H at the state when all of a sudden they decided we needed to do performances.
What?
We went through H when I was at the state, and they wanted everybody to start doing performances on their people to see how they did. A lot of people didn't want to do it. A lot of people didn't do it.
That's the issue. So anyway, that to me is,
decision on that now, Michelle. And specifically, I would suggest that we take out A and B under performance appraisal and just insert one word in the sentence in green. All managers and department supervisors will also receive periodic appraisals. That work?
Yeah, because here's the thing, if you guys decide that you're gonna do it, right, then we can set up the system by which you do it. Because right now, all it's gonna say is the county shall have the option of providing it.
That's exactly where I was going.
And if implemented, the system will provide for regular performance appraisal. So if you guys decide that you're gonna do it, then we create a system.
But if we decide to just remain at the status quo right now with everything else going on, this paragraph covers that, right?
Yep, it does. And that's a key, I don't see why you couldn't decide to do that. Here's the thing, we're gonna make these changes, and then you guys have to vote on an implementation anyway, right?
Yep. But my
Okay, so
thing,
you wanted to say, so you just wanted to make it clear that if you do this, managers and department supervisors will also receive periodic one too.
I just want to make it clear that we are not implementing a solid performance appraisal process, but if somebody wants to do it or feels a need, there's an option, and it gives us the right and other department heads to do them as they deem needed.
Then I think it needs to be changed to say, supervisors and managers within the county shall have the option.
Okay. I'm good with
And that way,
that.
if they decide they want to do it, they can.
Okay,
So option is the key word.
In the county shall have the option of providing a performance appraisal.
and we have that in there now, the county shall have the option. Oh, but you
No,
wanna,
that's the option of actually creating a system. It's not the option of doing it.
okay.
So do you guys want to have the option of creating a system later, or do you want to have do you want to give your managers the option of doing performance appraisals now?
I think if we do that, we need to also include that there will be proper training that they will have to adhere to.
Right, but at this stage for the policy, do you just want to say that someday we may decide to do performance appraisal? Or do you want to give your managers and supervisors right now the option of doing performance appraisal? Does that make sense?
It does, and it's a good question. I think we have two supervisors that might be interested, the others would rather not.
Okay.
And of those two, I really think only one of them would.
Well, here's the thing, what we could do is we could do something that says the county shall have the option of providing a performance appraisal system. If implemented, the system will provide for regular performance and, a permanent and we're an employee supervisor, all managers and program heads also. And then we leave that paragraph, and then I strike A and I say, however, the county encourages supervisors and employees to have ongoing discussions about job performance.
Beautiful.
Right? So that way,
Looks good to me.
although a formal system may not be in place, the county encourages, right?
Yes.
Encourages, supervisors and employees to have ongoing discussions about job performance.
Yes.
And I'll just say, to communicate job goals and objectives. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And and then I'm gonna get rid of the rest of it. And how about if I make BA, the special evaluation? We could call it a special evaluation. May be concluded whenever there's a change either upward or downward in the employee's performance. So that way the manager has an option of calling it a special evaluation instead of a discipline. So say something happens and somebody's doing something and, it's bad, but it's kind of a new thing and the supervisor's like, God, I don't really want to discipline them, I just really want to walk them through what needs to be done. Then they could call it this special evaluation. Or say somebody does a really great, job on something and the supervisor wants to give them kudos. They could call it a special evaluation.
Makes sense.
I like it.
And then what I'll say here in this D is the contents of a special evaluation, right, are not agreeable.
Yeah,
Because it's not a discipline.
yeah.
All right. Are not agreeable. Employees who disagree with a special evaluation have the right to submit, right? I'll just change the place where there is special evaluation and make it work, okay? The special evaluation. All right. Sorry, just let me have a few seconds just to make sure that I don't miss anything here. Special evaluation. Okay. All right, I got that. What would you like to talk about next? Before that one, we talked about interns, and I think we settled that, which is we'll leave it in, and if you want to, and if anybody ever wants to hire an intern, then they just hire an intern. It's no big deal.
That'll work.
Okay, and that was on page 3.
Yes.
So we're taking it one page at a time, okay?
So with that, page 10.
Okay, down to page 10. Hang on a second. Page 9. So I'm knocking out your probationary period, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, and then we talked about performance appraisals, and now we're on page 10, yes.
This is employee discipline, and you struck out the call Brian policy. Is there a reason why that cannot be in the personnel policies? Because a couple years ago, we had an elected official fire somebody. They did not follow the proper process, they did not contact MACO, and we had to reinstate that employee because we didn't have that insurance protection.
Yeah, no, I think that's something you just have to tell people, because here's what we don't want to have happen. If this is in the personnel policy, then all the employees get this. And so all the employees are now being told, oh, by the way, you can't be fired unless MACO gives their approval. So what happens if an employee walks in and they have a gun and they're leaving it around? Guess what? You can fire them without MACO's approval, okay? Or say, what we'll get every time there's a wrongful discharge act or every time somebody's fired is in discovery, we're going to get, give us all communications with MACO about terminating this employee.
Okay, that makes
Okay,
sense.
so what it is it's a process that is related to you guys because of your insurance, and this is something that MACO wants you to do, but what we don't want is all the discovery coming to MACO saying, give us all your emails with Brian, or Mike Shade said about the termination. And then all of a sudden, how about, if for some reason Mike wasn't around and you did it with me, right?
Uh-huh.
What we don't want them arguing is that you violated your contract with them. That, you got this with MACO, but, somebody jumped the gun. So you may have a discipline you may have a termination that's appropriate, that somebody did, that we can support, that somebody didn't contact MACO, right? don't want to put it in as part of your contract with employees.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. All right, next one.
Moving on to page 13, timesheets and preparation of payroll.
13, got it.
At the bottom of the list, it says supervisor's signature. How are we to handle signing the type cards for our supervisors? Because we don't do that.
Okay, no, you have to do that. Yeah, this issue came up about Debbie, and I was kind of appalled by the fact, sorry guys, but, look, every single person there we want to assume is honest and upright and everything, but the fact of the matter is that there has to be checks and balances on everybody. So you guys are the ultimate people there, okay? There isn't anybody that's going to sign your time cards except for you, but every single one of you, you supervise somebody. You supervise department heads, you have other people that you supervise, and a commissioner needs to sign their time card.
Makes sense.
Alright, so it doesn't matter, you guys can say, you can divide people up. You could say, okay, I'll be responsible for these 3 people, Elaine can be responsible for these 3, and Franklin can be responsible for these 3. Or you could say this month, it's always Franklin that signs the time card, the next month it's one, the next month after that it's Elaine, okay? And all it is to make sure that somebody's looking it over and making sure that it looks okay, that it doesn't look weird. And you guys can decide however you want to how that's going to be.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
The next one's easy. It's on page 14, moving right along.
Okay, so does anybody have a question about that? So sorry, now that I'm dictating to you. Elaine and Franklin, you guys are on board with that?
Yep.
Okay.
I'd
All right,
like
page
to,
14.
and Michelle, I'd like to hear from all 3 of us a yep. You've got 2.
I'm not
I
sure.
did.
I'm not sure. Explain, you want commissioners?
Okay, so Franklin, give me the name of the department head.
Give you the name.
Yeah, just give me the name of somebody who's the department head.
Okay, Doug Ellis.
Don't yell it.
He's an elected official.
Oh, wait, he's elected. Okay. Okay,
Dana Rouser.
Dana Rouser, yeah, road department.
Okay, road department. So right now, they fill out their time card and it just goes to Debbie. Somebody looks at it to see if it looks okay, if anybody's signing, if there's like weird hours in there or anything like that, right?
Well,
Yeah,
basically,
so
it's
what
up
I'm
to,
saying is, huh?
yeah, it's up to the supervisor to make sure that they're okay. Same as the sheriff's department. The sheriff,
Right, except here's the deal, the supervisor of the road department is who?
Dana
Dana.
Rouser.
Right, but who supervised Dana?
We do.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, Franklin. So when Dana fills out his, right, Dana, when he fills out his time card, one of the 3 of you guys need to look at it and sign it.
Okay.
So Franklin, do you understand that?
I see what you're getting at now. In other words, we would go over the supervisor's time cards. We wouldn't go over the other employees.
No, the supervisor's in charge of their employees,
Okay,
but you're in charge of the supervisor.
right.
Right? Okay. So that's it. So you guys just need to, do you understand that, and are you okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah. This would be just
Okay.
random checks?
No, it'd have to be done every month, Franklin.
Every time card.
Twice a month, every time card.
I mean, does it have to? It could just be done random too, couldn't it?
No, every single employee, you have to do every time, every person that you supervise, you guys supervise, some commissioner needs to go through every time card. So you guys do time cards on a monthly basis, right?
By-
Bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly, okay. So twice, so how many people do you guys directly supervise? That's not an elected official.
6 or 8 probably at the most.
9.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so somewhere between 6 and 8?
It's 9.
Apparently it's 9.
Okay, so it's 9. So those 9 people, twice a month, when they fill out their time card needs to come to you guys, and one of the 3 of you needs to sign, look at that time card and sign it. Now, that doesn't mean that I expect you, when you look at the time card and sign it, to make sure that they're not cheating, right? I mean, all this is somebody putting eyes on in case so that you guys can get a feeling. Because here's the thing, you might have a department head that's putting in their time card, and, they put in that they worked 30 hours, right? Are your department heads paid hourly or are they salary?
I think most of them base salary.
They're all hourly.
They're all hourly,
Just-
okay.
just the elected officials. Just the elected
Franklin,
officials.
it's just elected officials that are salaried, okay. So Franklin, you may get Dana's time card, and you may look at it, and you may go, wait a second, he put down that he worked 40 hours last week. Well, I know that's not true, because I actually saw him doing X, Y, and Z, and talked to him, and he said he took the day off. Or after a couple of months, you'll start seeing, kind of, maybe you have a department head that they're actually recording their time correctly, like they're saying they're taking 30 hours or 25, and they're putting in 6 for some. I mean, there may be, by putting eyes on and seeing the patterns, things that are potential issues are going to pop up at you if there's anything. Okay?
Okay.
And here's the thing, if somebody knows that you're actually looking at their time card and signing it, it's going to be a lot harder for them, to put in that they're working 40 hours when they only really worked 30 or 32. Now, you can't with elected officials. Elected officials are elected officials. They're going to do what they want. But these employees need to know that there's somebody that's overlooking what they're putting in their time. Okay?
Sure.
Now, Franklin, what I said was, you could decide that you're going to be the person that does it for a month, and then it goes to Lauren, and then the next month it goes to Elaine. I mean, you don't have to be the person all the time. You can designate like a rotation system. Or you could just say it doesn't matter, any of the people can come to any of us and any of us can sign them. I don't actually recommend that, and the reason I don't recommend it is because I want you guys to start noticing patterns, but it's not that important. I mean, that rule is not that important. It's whatever makes the most sense to you guys. Okay?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so did I get 3 yeses?
You did.
Thanks, Michelle.
Okay. So next question?
Next question is, on page 14, this is an easy one, number 5, at the very top of the page. Franklin, I know this is probably not fun for you and you're laughing is very rude, but this is extremely important
Well,
stuff.
everything's so easy. You keep saying, this was an easy one. This was an easy one. Go ahead and continue. I'm not paying attention to you.
Which one is it? Is the person who wants to look at their personnel file?
It's one thing I was wondering if it shouldn't say and or. The convenient time with human resource personnel and or department head present so that there's a witness. Rather than just or.
Oh, so what you're saying is how this reads is it could be the human resources person or the department head. I mean, I'm not sure.
I'm just saying, let's put an
so what
and.
you're saying is if the human resources person wanted the department head present also?
Yeah. We should at least have that option in there with the word and.
here.
Okay,
Does anybody have an issue with that?
No,
and Franklin just said he's not paying attention anyway, so I don't think he will.
Don't worry, Michelle, you'll understand all this at the end.
Alright, so Franklin, all this is saying is that any employee who wants to see their personnel file has the right to do so.
Right.
You just don't hand it to them. They have to have somebody there so that, we make sure that they don't actually take anything out of their personnel file. If they want a copy of it, they can put a little post-it on it and we'll make a copy of it. I mean, nothing's secret. They just
Right.
can't remove anything.
Right.
Okay. Alright, so I added that. What's the next question?
It's just on the credit card, it's page 19, under travel expenses. Last week, we had, almost $2,000 in mileage reimbursement on, from our claims. And if employees use a car in the county fleet, it costs us a little bit less than a third. So, what I would like to know is if there is a way to word travel expenses to require that an employee use the fleet first. If they're not gonna use a fleet vehicle, that they get authorization, and to ensure that the mileage is only from A to B, not interior B, from the hotel to the grocery store on the way home type of thing. But the big issue is,
So your first goal is that they use a fleet vehicle.
Right.
That's the first goal. period.
yes,
And then the second goal is that they don't use a fleet vehicle.
that they get pre-authorization. I can't use a fleet vehicle because there's not one available, or my sister lives there and I'd like to go visit her. In which case, we agree to pay the mileage just from Townsend to Missoula, and Missoula back, city limit line, that's it.
Oh, so I see. So they have to use a fleet vehicle. If they're not going to use a fleet vehicle, then you want them to have to get approval in advance, which would mean they'd have to say why they don't want to use a fleet vehicle. Then you could say, fine, you don't have to use a fleet vehicle, but blah, blah, blah.
Yes,
Depending on why they're not using a fleet vehicle. Okay. All right. So instead of going through all of this right now, because I think there is something in the travel section later that says you have to use a fleet vehicle first. So I'm going to have to look at I think I have to look at a couple of different policies. So can we just agree on what the concept is, and then I'll try and work on the language?
absolutely.
sure.
I'm
Okay,
against it.
so Franklin, do you agree that somebody should have to use a fleet vehicle first, and if not, and if they don't want to use a fleet vehicle, then they need to get approval in advance?
No,
Okay. And why?
no, for one thing, if there's the time involved, and another thing, this idea that it's being so much cheaper to use the fleet vehicle, there's quite an expense on these fleet vehicles. There's the same expense on them as there is on the individuals using their own. So it's really a trade-off.
Okay. So you don't really care. You're kind of like, they can use their own ones or a fleet vehicle, it doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Okay, so this is what I would ask you to do is, and I'll work on this either way, and then you guys can vote on it. Okay. What I would ask you to do is talk to Corey about it. I know that there's a, and this is totally up to you guys. Okay. But the issue that pops up for me not so much about when you use a county vehicle. When you use a county vehicle, it's got a certain amount of insurance on it, right? So if something happens to the person, it's pretty clear what the insurance liabilities are. When they use their own vehicles, it's not so clear.
Yeah, but that's their own
Especially if they
responsibility.
injure somebody else. So I'm not, another way to look at it, Franklin, is that if they use a fleet vehicle, I think that it's actually better protection for you guys from an insurance perspective.
They're using their own vehicle, that's their responsibility.
No, it's not. That's the problem. So was driving her own vehicle doesn't, she was still driving her own vehicle on county business. And so the person is still going to sue. So I would just ask Corey about that and see where he falls on it before you make up your mind. That's all.
Okay. So I have one more in that category as well, Michelle. You crossed it out, but it's hotel, it's the last, it's the page 20, line number 3, and it says, crossed out, hotel rooms reserved that are not canceled in a timely manner to be refunded shall not be reimbursed. We've had this happen a couple of times with a variety of employees where they'll schedule a hotel room and at the last minute not go. We had one even do airfare and at the last minute not go, and then ask the county to reimburse that. And I just don't think the county should. They have a responsibility to cancel that if they've decided not to go.
To be honest with you, I don't think you can charge them personally for that.
Okay, can we have,
I think there's a law. I think I'll ask Brian about that, but I'm pretty sure that if they're traveling for county business, right, now we may be able to put something else in place, but
okay,
I think if they're traveling for county business and they don't, I don't know. I have to talk to, there's something in the back of my head that's saying that we can't do that.
okay, well, I had to ask.
No, that's fine, and I'll double check it.
Okay. So my next question then is page 25, and it's Vera, Voluntary Employees Beneficiary Association. It's optional. Can you give us your opinion on that?
No, I can't, and the reason I can't give you my opinion is because I know nothing about it.
Okay,
So, I am very, very sorry, but that's not one of those things that I understand at all.
so if
Okay,
it's,
now what I would recommend you do is call NACO and talk to them about this.
okay,
Or maybe you guys could call the HR person from but I didn't even know this thing existed before we put together the NACO policies.
okay,
I wish I could give you a better answer.
that's all
Okay.
right. But now we can move on to the next one, which is kind of the same type of question. It's parental leave, page 34. And,
Oh, that one I can help you with.
I figured.
Parental leave, page 34, is actually statutory.
it says here it's optional. Note to county,
Okay.
parental leave is optional?
Hang on 1 second, but it's
Okay.
in a statute, to page 34. So, parental leave is optional, yes. Here's the deal. What they say in the statute is if you guys, say you have a maternity leave policy, right?
Yes,
And the maternity leave policy is not optional. You must provide maternity leave under the statute, all right?
yes,
Now, with a county that has more than 50 employees, right, you also have FMLA. So if you have a mom and a dad, because parental leave would be for a dad, right?
yes,
Okay, so family medical leave is family medical leave, and if there's a father has a baby, so you have somebody who's employed with the county that becomes a dad. He has the right to take FMLA, and you guys have over 50 employees, right?
yes,
Yeah. So you have FMLA. So parental leave is designed for counties, for instance, that don't have FMLA. Okay, or they've run out of their FMLA. So you may have somebody who took FMLA because they car accident and they took off.
yes,
All this would do is give you the option of giving the parent parental
Okay, so, I understand it's gonna be just our decision then on the parental leave. Do you have an opinion as far as if it's a good idea? I mean, if we're big enough that we have FMLA, and we would still have the option to give somebody leave, leave if they wanted another few weeks because their child was in the hospital, this isn't really necessary, right? For us? Michelle? I think we just lost her.
It says do not disturb.
Yeah, I think we lost her. Do you guys have a preference on the parental leave based on all that,
Mm-mm.
Franklin?
Pretty much just explain the statute anyway, I think.
The statute gives us options, that's what we're doing, is looking at what options we have within the law. And trying to make the best policies for our employees so that they understand their options also.
Okay, I'll put you on speaker just a sec. Are you there?
Yep.
Okay, continue on then.
So basically, that's all it is. So it would be if somebody didn't have FMLA, or say you had a brand new employee, and because remember, they're not eligible for FMLA unless they've already worked 1,250 hours. So say they're not eligible for FMLA yet, and they're a new dad, and the supervisor wants to give them 5 days of parental leave, right? Or they're, as they say, seasonal or temporary employees. But it literally doesn't exceed 15 days. So that's just up to you guys. That's a judgment call on whether or not you want to opt that somebody can have that leave.
Okay. Do you have an opinion on whether that is a good idea for a county to offer when we have FMLA?
Well, yeah, because there's going to be times when somebody doesn't have FMLA, they've used it up, or they're not eligible for it yet. I think it's a good idea.
Okay,
It's unpaid leave. If you've got a brand new employee and maybe they've been with you for just, like 5 or 6 months and they haven't done the 1,250 hours, but they're a great employee and they just have a baby, right? It's a man. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great benefit to offer people that really isn't going to be abused. And I don't think it's a big deal because, we're really talking about like 2 weeks, 1 to 3 weeks, and you get to make the choice. It doesn't say you shall give them 15 days, it just says you can.
okay, well, I'd be for it, what do you guys think?
I
Yeah.
agree with you, Michelle.
Makes sense.
Okay, so we'll leave that in. We'll take out the little optional box, right?
Yes.
Let me see if I can actually figure out how to take it out. Oh my God, I have to make a note. All right. Parental leave, yes. Okay. Take out box. All right, I can't figure out how to do it right now, but at this particular moment.
All right.
Okay, guys, next one.
This is my last one, Michelle. It's page 36, last paragraph under duration. Second sentence, the beginning of the 12 weeks, will be is just grammatical, it just needs to be taken out. The beginning of the 12 weeks will start when?
And eligible employees may take up to 12 weeks of leave within a 12-month period. The 12-month period will be calculated on a rolling basis. The beginning of the 12 weeks will be, the beginning of the 12 weeks will
Yeah,
will start when the leave begins, okay?
that's it. I'm done.
Okay, does everybody understand? So under the Family Medical Leave Act, just so that, I've talked to Laura about this issue ad nauseum, but I want to make sure that Franklin, you and Elaine understand this.
Yep,
So the Family Medical Leave Act says an employee, because they have an eligible medical condition, can take up to 12 weeks of unpaid time, and their job is protected. So that can be in one block, or it can be in intermittent blocks. Now what the law says is that you can run that on a calendar year basis. So every January 1, everybody's, clock starts over again, right? Their leave bank starts over. So that means that, and now they still have to be eligible, which means they have to have a condition and they have to have worked 1,250 hours the year before. So what that means, Franklin, is you can have somebody who works full-time and something happens and they have a serious medical condition, or and they take off October, November, December. That's 3 months, right? And then on January 1, they say, "Oh, I'm still sick, and so now I need to take off January, February, March." So you literally could have somebody out on FMLA leave for like 6 months. And that's how you guys currently do it. You run everything on a calendar year basis. So what this is saying, well, no, we're not going to let you do that. If you go out October 1st and you take October, November, December, then you don't get another 3 months until the following October 1st. So it makes sure it runs every 12 months, not every year. Does that make sense?
yep.
Okay, so that's the first change that I wanted to make to your policy. Then the other thing your current policy says is that if somebody, so say somebody's sick or they need an operation or something like that, right? Then what it says is you can take your vacation or your sick leave, or you can take FMLA time, which is unpaid. Remember, vacation and sick leave is not unpaid. So you can have somebody that says, well, I'm going to take a month of FMLA, or 3 months of FMLA, and then at the end of that 3-month period of time that's unpaid, they can turn around and say, oh, and now I want to take all my vacation and my sick leave, and my vacation and my sick leave, they might have, 4 or 5 months stored up. So one of the things that you guys have a right to do, because what you don't want to do is, you don't want to have situations where somebody can literally look at you and say, I'm going to be out for the next 6 to 8 months. And you don't really, and you have to save their job for them. Because that's what it means under FMLA, is you basically keep that job open for them. What you want to be able to do is basically
Yes?
I think so.
Okay, I wanted 3 yeses. All right. Now here's the other thing. The other thing I put in here is I put in, you guys are going to have the ability, say somebody doesn't have any leave, okay? I think there's the ability in here for you, even if somebody doesn't have, if somebody even doesn't have their paid leave available, or unpaid leave available, like an FMLA leave, that you still have the ability to give them some unpaid leave, okay? And I will check and make sure that's the case. Unpaid other medical leave.
That would be great, to have that
You know, because that way
flexibility.
if something happens and you're like, and they don't fit into any particular category, you still have the ability to do that, and, you know, it'll be limited. It'll be like you can grant somebody an additional 30 days, but it's not going to be, you know, they're going to have to give you the same stuff, the same documentation and stuff like that, okay?
Yes.
All right, so did anybody else have a question about the policies?
No.
No.
Okay. Then I will fix these things that we talked about. I'll work on the fleet vehicle thing. I'll call Brian about the hotel rooms and let you all know. All right, and Franklin, I would encourage you to talk to Corey about the insurance related to fleet vehicles and that issue. And so, I know it's inconvenient to use a fleet vehicle, but it may be, from a liability perspective, better. Okay? And then you guys can vote on the rest of it. You can vote on the rest of, and if you have any questions, just email me. Okay?
Yes, thanks, Michelle.
Oh, I do have another question. Are we still in public session?
Yep,
Do we still have, is it Ann present?
Yes? Do you want me to leave?
Well, I just wanted to ask a clarification about a job title.
Do you want me to turn?
So
yeah,
that's up to you guys. I don't know. I don't I'm not sure that it might be private. Yeah, it's kind of a personal matter.
Let me turn off the camera.
and the chairman can call a closed door at any time.